grandchildren and great-grandchildren, marbitze Torah, melamdei Torah, learning in yeshivas, learning in kollel. That's a little idea of what a family that Rabbi Shlomo raised. We loved when he came for Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur. He gave such a chashivas to our Yom Tov. His sweet personality, the way he would say over the Mishnayos at the table, be masbir the Mishnayos, explaining it. He didn't just read the Mishnayos. The way he went to shul, the way he came back, the way he conducted himself, was a chizuk for all of us. It was a schus for our children to have such a person, to know such a person, to have such a cousin in our family. As it was said, he was beloved by all. I remember when we went to Menachem Oval, with Stein, and the house was full of people, Rosh Yeshivas and Rabbanim and Gedolim. And then Shlomo walked in, and Rabbi Chaim looked up, and he says, Reb Shleimer, and Mamash, his whole face lit up. He saw, and he made him sit next to him. He had a special love that existed between Chaim and Shlomo and his family. We'll miss you, Shlomo, but we'll still continue the love and the relationship that exists between our families. Ubila Moves the Netzach, Umoch Hashem Alekim Dimam Yal Kol Panim.
Shmuel Zalman Stein, Rosh Hashiva Birkas Chaim in Lakewood, New Jersey, and cousin of Rabbi Stein, will share Divrei Hesped.
Achi, tzar li me'od, na'amta li me'od. David, when he said his hesped and Yehonasan, he said, my brother, how beloved you were, Shlomo, as was mentioned before, my father was Shiva Zechat Tzarek v'Kodesh Levracha. Our shaykhis was of such much more than brothers, especially after the Muhammad and Uncle Pesach in Chicago being the only relative, the only person that was left with the name Stein in the whole globe. So he took my father, Rosh Shiva Zechat Tzarek v'Kol Shavacha, under his wings, and the chizuk my father, Zechat Tzarek v'Kol Shavacha, used to say, for the Pesach, that it gave him the strength to move ahead, and how much we looked forward when we were little children, a couple times a year, Uncle Pesach, Tante Bela, Zechronim Levracha used to come to visit, and the love that existed to the Yeshiva Zech V'Tzarek V'Kodesh Levracha and to the whole family was more than a brother. And like was said before, Uncle Pesach and the Mishpoche and his roots, where he comes from, and his brother and his brothers, Kedoshim Mutahirim, but he came here to America before the war, and his Mesiras Nefesh for Torah, with Yiras Shamayim, his Emunah Pshuta, in the most trying of times, when nothing of Yiddishkeit could have been taken for granted. And the people who know the history of Chicago in all facets know what Uncle Pesach did with such dedication and devotion and Mesiras Nefesh. All the people that came so heartbroken after the war, he was mechazik them, he strengthened them, he helped them physically, monetarily, he gave his shirt off his back. This is what the roots that we're talking about. From such a heilige mishpacha, from a heilige nifter, from the Shlomo Yitzchak, Zeichet Tzadik v'Kodesh Levrocha. The Gemara says, Ezu ben olam haba. What is a ben olam haba? Avvinson, a humble person, the Shval Berech, Shayif Eil v'Shay Nofik. He goes in quietly, unassuming. V'gors baraisa tedira. That is a musik of a ben olam haba. So the question arises, it doesn't say in the Gemara that he'll get to olam haba. No, there's a metzias, there's a way of life that a person here in the olam hazeh, with all his challenges, with all around him, he's living a life, he's now a ben olam haba. Here, Ali Adomis, in this turbulent times, in such a nisyonis, in such tzaris that we have, mibayis and mibechutz, in the Yesodis, fin Emunah, in Torah, in Yerushalayim, and someone who has the strength and is takeh, like the Gemara says, an Amvison, Shval Berech, Shaif Eil, Shaif Nofik, so unassuming, V'gorz Baraisa Tedira. This is someone who lived all his life as a Ben Olam Haba. Ish Tam V'Yosher V'Yoreh Elikim. Simple. My Tata Zechat Tzadik V'Kodesh Levrocha used to say, in Litte, am gesagt der Fayid, is a good Yid. That was the biggest compliment that could have been said. Reb Shlomo, Zechat Tzadik Levrocha, this was the dmus, the example, the living example of a Ben Olam Haba. The musik from the Ish Tam V'Yosher, like was mentioned before, he was such a ohuv labriyas. He was misameach elokim va'anoshim. He was person full of, but where did it all come from? Why was he so beloved? The Mishnah in Ovis says, Kol sheruach habriyas noiche menu, ruach hamokim noiche menu. Anybody that the ruach habriyas is noiche from him and feels pleasant with him, is so the Rebbeinu Shalom also is noiche hemenu. So Rashi over there in Ovis says, it's not two separate things. It's two of the same. Whatever a person has, that he's noiche chein, and he's a noyach labriyas, like the Gemara says, Kol adam sheyesh b'chein b'yadua sheyesh b'yiras chet. What is the musig? What is the concept of a person who has a yiddish chein? That's the pnimius from the person, his innermost radiance of kedusha, from shechina. That both are the same. It's not possible for someone to be ruach habriyas, noiche hemenu, and be moitze chen v'seichel tov, like we say in benching. V'nimtzo chen v'seichel tov. Rashi brings down this pasuk. Moitze chen v'seichel tov be'enei elikim v'yodom. It's two of the same. And this nesiyas chen, that their helike, guter, Ehrlich Yid, Duch, that was so simple, but so real. And besides, we can talk about a radiant smile. We can talk about the most trying times in all kinds of situations. Like the Chovos Halevavos says, what is a chosid? Evloi beliboi v'tzalosei al ponov. He was this dmus of a person in the worst hardships, in these physical ailments, when we had the flood in Harrisburg, always the Shlomo, tzalosei al ponov, his simcha was so radiant. But this can only come from within. The radiance of Shechina, the radiance of Kedusha, the radiance of Emunah Pshuta, such a dveikus in Hashem. This was Reb Shlomo. In this week's parsha, V'osilu migdosh v'shachanti b'soichom, and it's brought down to the Sforim, and it's brought down to the pasuk in Shir Hashirim. The way Shlomo HaMelech exemplifies what is the migdosh. We know ish v'isha shchuy neshchuy b'neihem, but what is it? Toichoi rotzu v'ahava. It's innards is totally burning from ahava, ahavas hamokim, ahavas habriyas. Anybody friends of mine who are in the Stein house, maybe from Tel Aviv Yeshiva, where they were there, just last night I met a friend of mine. He never felt such a achnosis orchim, such a kabbalas pnei hashchina, in such a heiligkeit, just walking into this heilige shtub, to this heilige house, when we're talking about a metzias, v'osil limigdosh, and Chazal say when we build a Jewish home, it has to be a dwelling of Shechina. Few houses, and all that nemtzach, where do you see the radiance of Kedusha, the Havas Habriyas, so impacting? And there's nobody who ever went through that house over 50 years in Minneapolis, Harrisburg as we knew it, now here in Baltimore, didn't sense such a ruach from the Havas Habriyas, from the Havas Hamokim, Misameach Elikim V'Anoshim, and that nemtzach from this Toichei Rotzu V'Hava, and what makes a bias into a migdash is this difference of 32. 32 is leiv, the hearts, the warmth, the care, the compassion. This heilige moyen for Shechina, von der Shlomo and Yibod L'chaim Tovim V'Aruchim, his Eishes Chayil, our beloved Ruthie, was Eichet Azah Eishes Chayil, with such mesiras nefesh, in the most hardships of times, never a complaint, never a krechts, from such a devotion to a husband, to a family. And my father Zecher Tzaddik V'Kodesh L'Vachos always used to say over, it says by chuppah we give a bracha to a kala, which actually was the bracha that they gave to Rivka, Achoseina at hayil alfei revova. How is a child to come and expect Rivka, she was 3 years old, you impact tens, hundreds of thousands of people. And he always used to say, a person's avodah, his person's obligation is, he has to be touching and impacting every person he sees. And when a person impacts, you don't know how far that goes and what that does, and that person is impacting on other people and all that whole chain. But it all starts from one Rivka Imenu. the Heilige Stein Mishpoche, which we're so proud of, which was the pride from the community of Baltimore, from Mishpacha Stein, which comes from such Heilige Shroshim, from such holy roots of Mesiras Nefesh and Munah Pshute, from Avos Torah. Whenever we spoke to Shlomo, and maybe we didn't speak to him enough, or it wasn't shaykh for us to speak to him, but his biggest simcha, Baruch Hashem, I'm learning again, I have my chavrusas again, I'm able to go teach. His thirst to be able to give over and to impact in his Torah, in his actions, Torah, Yerushalayim, Emunah Pshute. There's no question that this Migdash, this Shechina, this Beis HaMikdash from Mishpachas Stein of the last 50 years has impacted hundreds of thousands of people. This is a Metzias for Na'el Chayid. This is a Metzias for Na'odem Kosher. Boin Shlom should help that Reb Shlomo, who holach lemenuchos, he's going, I'm sure he's coming to Kabbalas Ponim in Bezen Shalmaila, the Heilige Onkel Pesach, was mein Tate, Zechat Zarge v'kol Shavoche, said by his Levaya, he's meyet Shamayim v'oretz, as a Pesach he given a Tzadik Yesoid Oilom. He said he can be made. The Ede von der Yesoid Oilom Atzadik Yesoid Oilom he given Onkel Pesach. The Heilige Onkel Pesach and the Friedike Doris and all the Gdoshim and Tehorim, and I'm sure the Rosh Yeshiva, my father Zechat Tzaddik v'kol Shavoche, kum mekabel ponim sein as a Heilige Neshama, as a Heilige Eved Hashem, the best Moshe Rabbeinu's hesped. What does it say in the Torah? Vayomos Moshe Eved Hashem. An Eved Hashem totally subservient to do what's the Ratzon Hashem and to be makabel, besimcha, tzalosoi alponov, to have such a love for everybody and anything, and to radiate such a love and such a belovedness to a family, to community. And like we see such Heilige Peiros, Doris, Yeshoim, Varachim, Bonim, Uvnei Bonim, children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, instilled with such values of Torah in Yerushalayim. So Lakumen in Beznet, so Lakumen in Himmel, she go to the Kisei HaKoved, he should be Melitz Yoshe for his Gewaldige Shechayel. Ruthie, such a tzadikis, such love for every Yid, how much he cares and how much he cared for him, the matriarch of the family. She should have the koiches and the gesund to go weiter, to keep this Beis HaMikdash, this Mokum Shechina, this Toichei Rotzu Fahava, impacting, touching people's hearts like nobody else can. And for the kinder, the children, and the grandchildren, and the great-grandchildren, the refuahs and yeshuas, and for the community, and for Gans Klal Yisrael, his zicher is somebody that Chazal say, Tzadik she'ovad mi yiten lonu tmurasoi. It's not like one person goes, and then it's so easy to replace that. This void that was created from this tzaddik, this chosid, like we said, this honor, his humbleness, it's all encapsulated in this heilige neshama. He should be a melitz yosher, and we should only know, and Yeshuas and refuahs, u'moch Hashem dima mal kaponim v'noima omen.
Please rise for the Malay.
Ilmolei rachamim Shechein b'meroimim Hametzei menucha nechayna Al kanfei hashechina B'ma'alois kedoshim utahirim Ki zayar harakia mazhirim Es nishmas Rab Shlomo Yitzchak Ben Pesach Ruvain Sholach li olamai Bavush Anach mispalim badas koras nishmasai Biganei dentei menuchasai L'chein Balarachamim Yastireu b'seiser k'nafav li'olamim V'yitzrayir b'tzray rachayim es nishmasai Adonai hu nachlasai V'yanuach b'shalayim al mishkavai V'neimar amen.
Please be seated. The Kfura will follow at the Shomrei Emunah Cemetery on Washington Boulevard. Shiva will be observed at the Stein home, 6232 Berkeley Avenue, through Wednesday morning. Shachris will be tomorrow through Wednesday at 8 a.m. Mincha and Marv will begin on Sunday night through Tuesday night at 5:30 p.m.
We'd like to ask the grandsons to please come forward to act as pallbearers.